position early on. So it would be interesting to see if Down were behind, what would be, you know, in the locker, because normally what happens is if a team is coming into a first final and things start going wrong for them, you know, they go wrong for the whole game.
It is interesting, Pat Spillane, that, you know, people are saying if Down get a good start, then Cork might crumble. But then people are saying if Cork get a good start, as
no, I don't think any of the two teams will crumble. But I mean, Down, it's hard to get a real handle on this Down team. There's no doubt about it. Since they hammered Sligo, beat Kerry, beat Kildare, they've been the most impressive team in the championship over the last 8-10 weeks. And, you know, there's no doubt about it. James Carton has got them well organised, very good defensively. And, of course, the missing piece of the jigsaw was Marty Clark, yes, in the link role he's playing. Then, you know, at the back of your head, you start to say, this is also the same Down team, pretty much the same Down team who got beaten by Wicklow in last year's championship, who stumbled over the line against Donegal up in Ballybofey, who were horrid and absolutely awful in the second half against Tyrone, you know. And you start to say, how good are they? And then I look at maybe the last 15 minutes against Kildare, and they were really hanging on by the threads, you know. So while they are the foreign team, I could still pick a load of faults in them, you know. Yeah,
but one thing about it is, Joe, like, they've done this historically down through the years. Won All-Ireland in 1968. We didn't see them again for years and years, and they come along in 1991 and go the full distance.
There's a belief, you know, that whenever they've got a good team, they're ready to rock, they're ready to go, and people in Down believe that. You know, they believe it, and heritage does mean something. You know, your father passes it down to you, and you pass it down to your children, and it's in there deep. It's why whenever Kerry step out into Croke Park, that Cork seem to shrink in front of them. And it's why, you know, when Tyrone now and Ulster step out against opposition, good opposition like Monaghan, for example, they're beaten before the game starts.
Yes.
And so, you know, there's no doubt that that confidence plays a part in it. But the big transformation this year for Down has been defence.
Yes.
You know, they were leaking scores. I mean, geez, Wicklow must have scored 16 or 17 points against them last year. You know, they've conceded roughly about 11 points a game through their run so far. And so that has been the big difference, because that's what breeds confidence in.
All right. Now, mention of a special event which took place a little earlier here at Croke Park. That was the introduction of the Down football team, which won the All-Ireland 50 years ago. And I suppose it is fitting that on the 50th anniversary of that historic event, Down also play in this year's final. But these are the heroes of yesteryear, the first Ulster team to take the Sam Maguire across the border. They did so by beating Kerry in the final 2-10 to 8 points. The Down goals coming from James McCartan and a Paddy Doherty penalty, leaving the way clear for Kevin Musson to lead his victorious team up the steps of the Hogan stand. Our Jubilee team is the Down football team of 1960.
It gives me great pleasure, on behalf of everybody in Cumalook Gael, not alone here in Cork Park today, but throughout the world, to pay particular tribute to Micheál Muckenig, the one and only Kerry man. He has given distinguished service to our association over 7 decades. His voice is unique, the passion that he has brought to our games, and the wonderful way he has sold to our association in his commentaries throughout the world has been truly immense. Micheál, we salute you. Gora mille mahagut.
And there is the man who has seen Jubilee teams, All-Ireland winners and so many big match occasions at Croke Park over the past 62 years. The Master of Radio Commentaries, Micheál O'Mara-Harty, who today is being honoured by the GAA for his sterling service to 2 Gaelic games in this country and indeed on many foreign fields for over half a century. Well, Micheál McCartan, a famous name in Down football, an All-Ireland winner himself as a player, and now wee James is hoping to guide the county to their 6th All-Ireland title.
Here's Mickey Linden, here's a goal chance. James McCartan rolls it in.
Well, I suppose if you're making a list of all the pros and the cons and the reasons to do it and the reasons not to do it, the reasons not to do it would have been a lot longer of a list. But I suppose whenever there's red and black in you and you get the opportunity, you just take it. We didn't know where we really stood. We felt with some good players in the county. We've always felt with good players win this county. And wondered, did we have enough?
Ball inside. It's a chance for Poland. It's the back of the net.
As the year went on, look, we've grown slowly. Obviously, probably the biggest leaps we've taken, you know, were the Sligo performance and the Kerry and performances in Croke Park, because before that, I'm sure nobody was thinking of us for an Ireland final. Possibly the game against Sligo came at the right time for us, in the fact that you know, they were on a downer, and it's hugely difficult. It's an unfair system, but that's a debate for another day. And we took advantage of that, but it gave our guys that wee bit of belief that they needed against a quality team, that you know, they could do it. Now, we got no credit for that game, and then we went in against Kerry and we got no credit for that game, and we went in against Kildare and we won that by accident as well. So I just hope the accidents keep occurring. Anybody that sees Down playing football well, the tactic's fairly simple. Try and get the ball into the scoring zone relatively quickly, and that's the way we've always played. I suppose I'm not sure if you do your stats how much kick passing we do and as opposed to hand passing, but we try and kick the ball if it's possible to kick it, and cut out, you know, these sweepers and extra men back if possible. If we can't, we'll look up and we'll give it short and then we'll reassess it again. But if we try and get the ball into danger early, and that's a tactic probably most teams have. It is difficult coming up to the All-Ireland final. You can't really let your guard down and relax and enjoy it, because you're always, you know, checking yourself because there's some box that you haven't covered or ticked, and there's some angle that you just can't let your guard down, and you can't get carried away with all the hype. The only people really are enjoying it are the supporters. You know, even the players. You tell them to relax and try and enjoy it, but you just wonder how much they're able to. I'm absolutely nervous from start to finish. I don't know, maybe it does show, but yeah, there's times the nerves are jangling through me. There's no doubt about that before the game, during the game, and certainly whenever Kildare about to take a 14-yard free kick and with 10 men along the line. Yeah, I was nervous that time too.
Hits off the crossbar!
Goodness, you know, it's something you do let yourself. I know Benny Coulter said in the press conference he's been dreaming about it for 10 years, getting to an All-Ireland final. Well, I haven't really been dreaming about managing Down in an All-Ireland final, but certainly over the last couple of weeks, the thought of being able to bring Sam Maguire back to the county, and you know, obviously every player and every part of the management team is a close family, but I suppose my own, obviously, you know, the history of GA in it would be nice to keep that history going, and yeah, like, I can't really express how much it would mean.
Those are the thoughts of the Down man. Moonhan is hoping that it has a happier ending than it did back then. 3 years into the manager's post, the big prize has yet to be landed, but when Gerard Canning met him recently, well, he found him in a relaxed mood.
3 years seems a long time away now. Very conscious of where we were coming from. 2007, that particular All-Ireland, the final defeat was pretty crushing. You know, there was events after that, you know, a certain amount of damage done. This year, you know, it's probably been an upward curve again, in the sense of that, you know, we actually won the Division 1 title, and we're here now in an All-Ireland final, and you know, it's where everyone wants to be.
Is there some psychological baggage that you'd be concerned about having lost to?
No, I think, look, you know, if you look at any of the sports, you know, there are occasions when you are obviously beaten by better teams, and you know, I firmly believe the best team wins all the time, and there was times maybe we weren't good enough. I think it shows great character in a team that can come back from those type of defeats, and you know, I think our lads have shown that in abundance. From our point of view, you know, experience is quite invaluable in these days of All-Ireland finals, and you know, there's certainly no doubt that, you know, in days gone by, particularly in relation to Kerry, they had an abundance of experience which, you know, played a major part. Hopefully the last few years that we've gained that experience, and we can bring that to bear on Sunday. We were never, as I saw it, the hot favourites that other people might have perceived us to be. I think, you know, maybe some people got carried away, be it media, pundits or whatever, but, you know, I would certainly have seen that it was always going to be a battle. All-Irelands are very hard won by, and, you know, some people had put us up there on that pedestal, and, you know, they're the same people that are probably now asking questions about us. People have set themselves up in a particular way, to maybe counteract us, and you know, while some might say they would have done well in that, the reality is we still overcame those obstacles. It doesn't allow us to play with the same flair or whatever that people might like, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, you're saying to me about playing the best football last year. You know, the reality is I'd much prefer to be remembered for being the All-Ireland champions for last year. One thing I'd have learned again from my own playing days was, you know, there isn't much point in getting excited, you know, until 3:30, you know, from a player's perspective, and you're trying to tell them that. Plus, look, the reality is on occasions like this, you know, if guys are looking out to you on the sideline, then the show is over. You know, once they cross that white line, you know they need to be ready to do the job. Any guy you put out in front of 82,000 or 84, he's got to be able to stand up on his own 2 feet and make the big calls. It's all about getting the result at this stage.
That's the Cork manager, Conor Coonahan, and this is the Down team out onto the pitch here at Croke Park for their big day, taking part in the All-Ireland football final of 2010. And you know, the beginning of the year and beginning of the season, people say, who do you think is going to win this year's All-Ireland? And we all make our predictions and we try and do the best of it, but who would have said that Down were going to be in the All-Ireland final this year? Well, they obviously believed in themselves, beaten earlier in the championship by Tyrone, but have bounced back big time. And here is the colour all the way down from the Mourne for this